DESIblitz.com.
नवंबर तो मैं इत्थे आया मैं एक दिन घर नहीं गया एक दिन आया नहीं.
They had no option but to take the fight in the spirit of their ancestors to the gates of the Delhi citadel.
कितनी देर तो बैठे हैं 26 नवंबर तो इत्थे ही बैठे हैं.
This agitation is planned and managed.
किसान मजदूर एकता जिंदाबाद.
And so these commission reports clearly show that reform is necessary.
Whatever happens to farmers in India is of a great concern to us.
I support the farmers' protest in Delhi.
Why are these farmers from India bringing their problem overseas?
I support the farmers' protests in India.
Providing an environment that's conducive to innovation and technology, these bills seem very well intentioned.
These farm bills were not really discussed in Parliament.
The three agricultural ordinances have been designed by the corporates in cahoots with Modi's government to mutually benefit themselves by controlling price, production, storage, distribution, and the promotion of land grabs to create Californian-style mega farms.
I'm from the state of Tamil Nadu. The three bills, the protest, and everything around it has been erupting in my social media and the news that I read. So I realized that actually, to understand what is going on, I had to go straight to the source, which are the three bills themselves and the commission reports that preceded them. The three bills that I read. Now to me it seems pretty simple. It gives choice. It gives choice to the farmers. Not a substitution or a removal of a system, but choice. Choice that can move past that single dependency that they currently have. Choice that can give them great economic benefit, but also the security and safety with the minimum support price that is continued to stay. This choice, again, is present here and other Western countries. So why are we denying Indian farmers that choice?
ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 3 ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਪਾਸ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਭਾਜਪਾ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਦਾ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰ ਆ ਉਸ ਦੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੀ ਹੈ ਜੇ ਕਿਸਾਨੀ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ 2 ਰੋਟੀਆਂ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰ ਆ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ 1 ਰੋਟੀ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਣੀ ਜਿਸ ਪਾਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਆ ਉਹ ਹਰੇਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਵੇਟਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਸੜਕਾਂ ਵੇਚ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਹਸਪਤਾਲ ਵੇਚ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਵੇਚ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਖੋਹ ਕੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਵੇਟ ਹੱਥਾਂ 'ਚ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ
ਕਿੰਨੀ ਦੇਰ ਤੋਂ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ 26 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ ਮੇਰੇ ਫਾਦਰ ਇਨ ਲੋ ਵੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸੀ ਫਿਰ ਵਿਆਹ ਦੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਇਨ ਲੋ ਆਏ ਸੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਆਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਏ ਆ ਵੀ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕਾਲੇ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਵਾਪਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਏ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਬੈਠਾਂਗੇ
When you look at India's agriculture sector versus anywhere else around the world, that this sector needs investment, it needs innovation, and it needs technology. Providing an environment that's conducive to innovation and technology, these bills seem very well intentioned. And in fact, previous 2 governments have tried to pass similar bills, or at least propose them. Whether they lack the political will or the political power is a different story. These are not new bills. There's consultations with farmers dating back 10 years. In fact, many of these ideas that were passed are farmers' ideas because they know the industry best. Now, there will be winners and losers in this, and this is where we can see the farmers' protest coming from. And I understand, and everybody has a right to protest peacefully. So the losers, who will they be? Well, they'll be, sometimes farmers, the farmers who fail to adapt to take on the new systems. It may be the farmer because the market is in a bad year, as with any market, prices can go up as well as down. So if there's a bumper harvest of wheat and I've sown wheat or someone else has sown wheat, then they may not get the best price for them. But with that risk comes the upside, the reward. They have direct access to the market and they can take the reward. It's not somebody else that's taking the reward.
And I'm sure that there are loads of us NRIs in the same position. Often our lives were compromised in this country so that we could support our brothers and sisters back home. Now, after years and years, they are well settled. They are able to earn their bread with dignity and respect. And these farm bills are going to be detrimental to their livelihood.
I have agricultural land in Himachal Pradesh, India, and my cousins are farmers there. I have read the 3 new farm laws, which were the result of 2 decades of consultations and discussions. The central government has given so many other benefits to the farmers during the past few years. The new law covering freedom to sell the farm produce anywhere, minimum support price, contract farming are good for the farmers and provide them with more options and opportunities. These do not take away anything which was there before.
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਖੇਤੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਿਲੇਟਡ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਿੱਲ ਇਹ ਪਾਸ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ ਮੋਦੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਦਿਲਾਂ ਮਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਸੱਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਬੜੀ ਗਹਿਰੀ ਵੱਜੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਆ ਉਹ ਅੰਬਾਨੀਆਂ ਅਡਾਨੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਫਾਸਿਜ਼ਮ ਆ ਉਹ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਭਾਰੂ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਰਜ਼ ਬਣਦਾ ਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ 'ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋਇਆਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਹਮਾਇਤ ਕਰੀਏ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਿੱਲ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਣਾਏ ਨੇ, ਐਕਟ ਬਣ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਸਹਾਇਤਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰੀਏ.
Most farmers in India farm small pieces of land, and it is the small farmer, the poorest farmer, the most vulnerable farmer that will be affected by these laws. The only beneficiaries are big businesses and corporate houses.
In reality, these farming laws are much needed reforms to the ailing agriculture sector of India. These new laws gives the farmers choices. They can either stay with the existing system or they can adapt to the new laws. It allows them to sell their produce to the multiple outlets and it raises their income. These new laws also allows the Indian farming sector to have linkage with the global markets. I believe these new farming laws will benefit the farmers immensely.
So farming is culturally, spiritually in our blood. So whatever happens to farmers in India is of a great concern to us. The laws that the Indian government has passed without any consultation, without following any legal rules and regulations in Parliament, brought in at the height of the pandemic in the middle of the night, are truly unjust. It's not just a few farmers, it's millions of farmers, not in Punjab but elsewhere as well, who are against these laws because they feel that they will put them at the mercy of big corporations and will make them truly helpless.
It is not about farmers, because if it was about farmers, all the farmers across entire India would take to streets, would be protesting about it and would be up in arms. So obviously the laws that are proposed are not that bad. And my message to these farmers is that can you not give peace a chance? Because it is only from the state of Punjab that the farmers seem to have a problem. Can you not, for a change, let the legislation come into act, and if it continues to cause you problems, please voice your concern.
I support the farmers' protest in Delhi. They have worked on this land, fed the nation, and they know instinctively what's in their interests. And I don't believe handing control of Indian agriculture to multinational corporations will be in their interests, because their concern will be to make profit and that's not in the interest of the farmers.
Once the organised trade union movement has been crushed, then Modi will have an open field to crush the rest of the resistance, and they can put his policies forward without any resistance. So it is important that we succeed. If we don't succeed, we're going to have a big setback in maybe 50 years. It's going to be very hard for only working class to raise up again.
ये लंगर गोहाना तहसील का है और ये शुरू से चला हुआ है और तब तक ये कानून वापस नहीं होंगे तब तक ये लंगर चलता ही रहेगा, ये बंद नहीं होगा।
ਤਿੰਨੇ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਰੱਦ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆਏ ਆ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ, ਠੰਡ ਪਾਲਾ ਸਭ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੰਡਾਇਆ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਰੋੜਾਂ ਤੇ ਪਏ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਹੁਣ ਰੋੜਾਂ ਤੇ ਪਏ ਆ। ਸੜਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਲੈਣ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਮੈਂ 1.5 ਮਹੀਨਾ ਰਿਹਾ, 1.5 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਤੋਂ 2.5 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਇਹਨੂੰ। ਤੇ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਕਾਲੇ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਰੱਦ ਕਰਾ ਕੇ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਮੁੜਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਗਰ।
The way to get justice is to mobilize millions of people in a just cause. There is not a scintilla of doubt that the farmers' cause is just. Increasingly, the government's heavy-handedness in India, its oppression of people, is making more and more people understand how just this cause is. So that's the only way to make this government listen.
The protest continues to come only from the state of Punjab with some fringe elements from Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. But the rest of the country, the farmers from the other parts of the country are rejoicing and welcoming the changes. And what is very unsettling about this entire protest is that anyone who seems to have a different point of view from this farmer community is named, they are shamed, they are trolled, they are harassed.
ਸੰਯੁਕਤ ਮੋਰਚੇ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਤੋਂ ਸਿੰਘੂ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਤੋਂ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ। ਲਗਾਤਾਰ 25 ਤਰੀਕ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਚੱਲੇ ਸੀ। ਲਗਭਗ 2.5 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਤੋਂ ਉੱਪਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਮੋਰਚੇ ਤੇ ਬੈਠਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਮੋਰਚਾ ਆ ਔਰ ਦਿਨ ਪਰ ਦਿਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਨੂੰ ਵੱਧਦਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਚੋਂ ਚੱਲੇ ਸੀ। ਅੱਜ ਪੂਰੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ, ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰਾਂ ਦੀ, ਮਿਹਨਤੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਣ ਗਈ ਆ। ਪੂਰਾ ਭਾਰਤ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ।
The livelihoods of 70% of the Indian population is directly linked to agriculture. Therefore, it should come as no surprise when Modi imposed his 3 agricultural laws on the Indian farmers without any consultation or afterthought that you were going to witness the world's largest continuous mass protest.
I think the Indian government should stand firm on their decision, as this will lead to the improved farming in India.
मैं 1.5 ਮਹੀਨਾ ਸੰਗਰੂਰ ਗੱਡੀ ਦੇ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ 26 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਇਆ। ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਘਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਿਆ, ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਆਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ। ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਗਏ ਨੇ। ਮੈਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਰੱਦ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਆਵਾਂਗਾ, ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ। ਅਸੀਂ ਤਿੰਨੇ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਰੱਦ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆਏ ਆ।
But when I looked at the numbers of people who were protesting versus the total number of farmers in India, there was about thousands of protesters, you could say, with 118 million farmers across India. So what is the voice of the silent majority? What are their views? What is the silent majority saying? Now, with one of the largest democracies in the world, like India, I realized that it's actually quite difficult to understand the socio-political challenges around it. And so with any change or any reform that is proposed, there is going to be opposition. It's impossible to satisfy everyone. But the important question is, how do we respond to that change? How do we respond to those views?
What angers and saddens me even more is a reaction to the protesters. They've had water cannon used on them, they've been baton charged, they've been arrested without legal representation, and this is wrong. In a country that calls itself the biggest democracy in the world, this behaviour is not in keeping with democracy. Democracy is about free speech and the right to protest, and we haven't seen that in India. We've seen quite the opposite of that. Indeed, the farmers have been vilified as terrorists, which is an untruth, and it's unfair.
Simple and innocent farmers are being misled. This agitation is planned and managed by opposition parties, failed politicians, and some foreign elements to try to unstabilize the properly elected central government. So far, so-called farmer leaders have failed to tell the government where and what is wrong with the reforms. They are insisting on total withdrawal of the reforms.
Farmers were told, like it and lump it. This is what we're doing, and it's for your own good. And what we have seen is how farmers have been discredited. This whole movement has been discredited, and the Western media is not really paying attention. And all the time, various things keep coming up in the media and social media that these people aren't genuine farmers.
I have family out there on Singhu Border who are involved in a number of ways, doing various different types of seva, transporting people there and back, and providing langar, medicines, and so on. I am a farmer's daughter. My father came to England in the 60s, probably with a few pounds in his pocket. And all his life, probably about 40 years, he worked in factories and foundries and bought land so that he could uplift his family out of poverty. And I am just flabbergasted that despite us having such a huge investment in Punjab, in India, as NRIs, we are being called terrorists, Khalistanis, anti-nationals. We've been told that it's an internal matter. And I just think this is absolutely ludicrous. This could be us on that Singhu border. If our parents hadn't got out and given us the opportunities that we have, this would be us.
बिस्तरे खराब हो गए, जो साडे खाने सी वो खराब हो गया, जो सारा सिस्टम सी रहन दा वो सारा साडा भी हो गया। इस बार तो सारा सिस्टम चेंज किया, अपना सिस्टम इत्थे रहन दा वधिया बनाया, और फिर हुण असीं भी इत्थे सारी गर्मी हुण इत्थे असीं हटावांगे, इत्थे असीं रहांगे, जिन्ने तसीहे सानूं देणगे असीं लांगे, पर साडी सरकार नाल कोई लड़ाई नहीं, सिर्फ असीं 3 कानून वापसी ही लैके जावांगे।
It is a battle. Every battle is not won, but end of the day the war will be won because they are determined. It's a long struggle. You can 6 months, year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, because the leaders of the Kisan unions are adamant, and the wise people have been active in the peasant movement, the working class movement for the 40-50 years and have good experience. And the good thing about this leadership is that none of them are corrupt, and they're quite intelligent as well, and they will not sell out.
Yeah, it's important to us because it affects everybody, you know, because it's about food and it's about food and we all eat food, and you know they have to, you know, accept what the farmers want, you know, they can't carry on, you know, it affects everybody.
ਸਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਇਨਸਾਫ ਦਿੰਦੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਸਰਕਾਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੜ ਕੇ ਲੈਣੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ, ਇਨਸਾਫ ਲੈਣੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ, ਹੱਕ ਲੈਣੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਆ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨੀ, ਮਹਾਰਾਸ਼ਟਰ ਦੇ, ਯੂਪੀ ਦੇ, ਹਰਿਆਣਾ ਦੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਲੋਕ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਨਾ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਯੂਨਿਟੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਯੂਨਿਟੀ, ਉਹਨੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਜਿੱਤਣਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੇ ਸਭ ਕੁ ਹੱਕ ਲੈਣੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਵਾਪਸ ਕਰਵਾਉਣੇ ਨੇ।
मैं डॉक्टर तेजिंदर पाल सिंह नलवा, दिल्ली, इंडिया से। फार्मर प्रोटेस्ट को लेकर सिर्फ एक ही बात कहना चाहूँगा कि ये फार्मर प्रोटेस्ट अब ये पूरी दुनिया की मूवमेंट बनेगा, इसलिए कि पूरी दुनिया में जो सबसे ज़्यादा एक्सप्लॉइटेड है वो या किसान है या मजदूर है। एंड आई होप कि सब में बेटर सेंस प्रिवेल हो, सब मिल बैठ के फैसला करें और जो पूरी दुनिया का अन्नदाता है, जो पूरी दुनिया का अन्नदाता है, उन्हें इंसाफ मिले, सब लोग शांति से रहे। और मेरे को ये लगता है ये किसान आंदोलन, मजदूर आंदोलन अल्टीमेटली शायद वर्ल्ड को एक कंट्री बनाने में तब्दील करेगा, चाहे इसमें 25 साल लगे, चाहे 50 साल लगे, क्योंकि पूरी दुनिया को अगर कोई चीज़ यूनाइट करती है तो वो है खाना, और खाना क्रिएट करने वाला फार्मर। ये दोनों ही पूरे वर्ल्ड को यूनाइट कर सकते हैं। दिस इज़ माई टेक ऑन फार्मर प्रोटेस्ट।